Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a hard, uncompromising look at the year 2026, and we're redefining what digital transformation actually means for your business. Because let's face it, the definition of digital transformation has changed, 3 times in the last decade? We've gone from simply digitizing paper processes to, migrating everything to the cloud. But today, we're talking about building an organization that can absorb AI-native capabilities right into its core operating model, and doing it without breaking governance, security, or the amazing people actually running your business. The cost of getting this wrong has literally never been higher, so let's get it right. Here's our 6-part roadmap for today. The 2026 paradigm shift, assessing your true maturity, an 8-step framework for success, demystifying the layers of AI, a real-world case study, and finally, how to measure real business impact. Okay, let's dive right in.
Section 1, the 2026 paradigm shift.
Okay, so we're entering this whole new era of intelligent business transformation. And I want you to notice the shift in language there. Digital, well, that just describes the medium, right? The systems, the software. But intelligent, that describes the actual capability driving the change. This is the deliberate redesign of how a business operates using AI-native capability. We aren't just migrating to the cloud anymore or, buying a shiny new piece of software off the shelf. We are fundamentally redesigning the operating model entirely around AI, right from day one. Think about it like this. On one hand, you have digitization. That's just taking old, clunky manual processes and, doing them digitally. But on the other hand, you have true transformation, where workflows are entirely redesigned from the ground up around AI agents and copilots. And the cost equation in 2026? It heavily favors this redesign. You're just not going to see massive gains by simply digitizing outdated manual steps anymore. The real leverage, the game-changing stuff, comes from augmenting your staff and workflows with autonomous execution. Section 2. Assessing your transformation maturity.
Look, before we do anything, we have to know where we stand. There are 5 crucial maturity levels. We start at level 1, which is reactive. Think manual processes and totally siloed spreadsheets. Level 2 is digitized. The systems exist, but they're completely disconnected. Level 3 is connected. This is where you have cloud-first API-integrated systems, maybe even some basic copilots. Now, most enterprises today, they feel pretty advanced, but honestly they're stalling out at level 2 or maybe a low level 3. The true return on investment, the massive gains, those only unlock at level 4, intelligent, and level 5, autonomous. That's where you finally have unified real-time data and self-optimizing, multi-agent systems working end-to-end within strict guardrails.
Now I'm going to hold a mirror up for a second. Does this sound familiar to you? No one can give a fast, accurate answer to how many active customers do we have without checking 3 systems. If you're not in your head right now, your organization is probably stalled at level 2 or 3. And if that's you, listen carefully. You have to prioritize modernizing and integrating your data before you even think about buying more AI tools. Seriously.
Section 3. The 8-step framework.
So how do we actually break out of that stall? We use a structured 8-step framework. Let's walk through the critical first half. Step 1 is assess, finding out where you honestly are today to create a maturity gap map. Step 2 is align. This means defining what business outcomes actually matter and assigning named executive owners to them. Step 3 is architect, designing the target architecture that supports those exact outcomes. And step 4 is modernize, identifying and addressing the legacy constraints that are blocking you. I really want you to notice how success starts with defining outcomes and naming owners in step 2, long before you ever try to architect a solution or fix legacy debt in step 4.
Moving on to the final 4 steps. Step 5 is integrate, building out that API strategy so your data actually talks to each other. Step 6 is automate, where AI finally creates real leverage through a strategic agent deployment plan. Step 7 is govern, ensuring a solid safety framework is locked in. And lastly, step 8 is scale, creating a repeatable platform operating model. It is absolutely vital that you integrate the data layer in step 5 before deploying AI agents in step 6. And the whole thing has to end with a repeatable operating model, not just some one-off IT project that gathers dust.
So the absolutely crucial point here is this. Sequencing is everything. Modernize and integrate absolutely must precede automate. Let me say that again. Deploying incredible cutting-edge AI on top of disconnected, poor-quality data is the #1 reason these transformations fail. An AI agent simply cannot act reliably on data it can't access. It's really that simple.
Let's connect this framework to reality with a highly realistic 24-month timeline. For months 1 through 3, you are purely assessing and aligning, quantifying the cost of an action, and charting outcomes. Months 3 through 6 are for locking in your architecture and governance risk tiers. Months 6 to 12, that's when you roll up your sleeves to modernize and integrate, building out that API and data layer. By months 9 to 18, you are finally ready to automate, deploying those agents into a fully integrated domain. And from months 12 to 24, you govern, monitor, and scale that platform team. This timeline shows exactly when each phase hits in a mature, successful enterprise transformation.
Section 4. Demystifying AI's 4 layers.
Now, what's really interesting here is the massive difference in risk and autonomy between the tools we use. A copilot basically assists a human who ultimately makes the final call. It's much lower risk, and frankly, it's usually the perfect starting point if you're sitting at level 2 or 3 maturity. An agent, on the other hand, plans and executes multi-step actions entirely on its own within defined boundaries. Agents take us from, hey, let's give employees a better tool, to, wait, which workflows should we completely redesign for autonomous execution?
Beyond copilots and agents, we've got 2 underlying layers that make all this magic work. First is RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation. This is the tech that grounds AI output in your actual enterprise data. And listen to this, your RAG quality depends far, far more on your data architecture than on which fancy language model you happen to buy. Second is Intelligent Workflow Automation. This is the orchestration layer that connects everything end to end. Removing manual handoffs through workflow automation, yeah, that is where the absolute biggest ROI lives.
But let me be completely clear on this. Governance is not optional. Every single AI use case needs a risk tier, a matched human oversight requirement, and audit logging built into the architecture right from step 3. You cannot retrofit this stuff after launch. Think about it. A copilot drafting an internal email and an autonomous agent approving a massive financial transaction carry entirely different risk profiles. Do not apply a uniform blanket policy to everything, or you're going to completely stall your progress.
Section 5. Real-world case study.
Okay, set the scene with me here. We've got a composite case study of a mid-market lender with roughly 2,000 employees. They were stuck completely dead in the water at level 2 maturity. Their loan officers were wasting 60% of their time manually re-entering the exact same data across 4 totally disconnected systems. And their original goal? Well, they just wanted to, quote, add AI to cut down their 9-day loan processing time. They kind of thought AI was a magic wand for their processing bottlenecks.
But they didn't just add AI. They actually followed the proper sequence. And by doing so, they dropped their loan processing time from 9 days down to just under 2 days. Boom!
So how did they pull that off? They succeeded by having AI accelerate an already fixed process, rather than papering over a broken one. Instead of just rushing out to an AI vendor, they used the strangler fig pattern. Basically, they built an API to slowly wrap and replace their legacy systems piece by piece. They unified their customer data first and then deployed the human-in-the-loop copilot. They fixed the integration problem first, which, as we know, is the most consistently skipped step in failed transformations.
Section 6. Measuring real business impact. All right, when it comes to measuring success, you have to focus on outcome-based KPIs. You want to look at hard business outcomes, like cost to serve, and operational efficiency metrics like end-to-end cycle time. For the AI specifically, you track the adoption rate and output accuracy, which basically shows how often humans have to step in and correct the AI. And for governance, you track the percentage of use cases that are appropriately risk classified. Please avoid vanity metrics at all costs. Measuring things like systems migrated or tools deployed just measures activity. It doesn't measure real business impact. To recap, avoid these fatal traps: buying technology before defining a named outcome with a named owner, attempting a super risky big bang legacy replacement instead of an incremental approach, and crucially, underinvesting in integration. Actually, firms like 200 OK Solutions specialize in fixing these exact sequencing issues to get stuck roadmaps moving again. They help you build a roadmap that starts with business outcomes and ends with measurable, real-world results.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final critical question to really challenge your current strategy. Are you truly redesigning your business for 2026? Or are you just papering over broken processes with AI? The choice you make today is absolutely going to define your organization's reality tomorrow.